Oh yeah, people were very unhappy about Skillshare. I didn't see why this was, so I was going to look into it. Apparently Skillshare is bad.
Skillshare. Skillshare.
Skillshare.
Skillshare, like Skillshare.
YouTubers sold out.
The dark side of Skillshare.
Basically, every infotainment video on YouTube pitches Skillshare as some sort of godly resource. Do you want to learn how to code? Skillshare.
Right.
Do you want to learn how to animate? Skillshare. Do you want to just learn how to learn? Skillshare.
Okay.
At this point, Skillshare isn't even seen as a learning platform. It's seen as the thing productive people do. Clearly, Skillshare has done a phenomenal job when it comes to branding, marketing, and positioning.
Okay.
But the same cannot be said about the platform itself.
Well, let's see why.
Skillshare is not only a mediocre platform, it's a negative platform. And that's not my opinion. That's the overwhelming opinion of everyone who ended up using the platform. On Trustpilot,
wait a
it's
second.
negative platform, and that's not my opinion. That's the
They accused me of fraud and canceled my entire account that I had paid for without warning, just blocked me from their platform. They also ran a background check on me without authorization and searched me online. I refused to use my real name on a platform for this reason. You have a right to access your data and remind them that if they close your account before your renewal due, it is unlawful. That sounds crazy.
Everyone who ended up using
like another reviewer, design for the website's complete garbage. Used to love the idea of Skillshare, and their website never looked like this in the past. They're pretty transparent with their fees and subscription costs. Now the whole homepage looks cheap and shady, provides no information on the cost. It pushes a free trial, but doesn't state clearly how much you'll be billed for after the trial, which is quite important. They said yearly billing instead of opposed to monthly. People should know how much they're being charged. Help page, okay.
on Trustpilot.
So yeah, that basically, I think that the second one, the first one is so hard to say because like I don't know like whether that's true or not, but like the second one saying that like the price of Skillshare. Let me see. Let's look it up for ourselves rather than just take their word for it. How much is a subscription to Skillshare? It says $32 a month. Okay. Well, let's see. So let's look at Skillshare.com. Let's see here. Skillshare, I type .cop. Okay, so close that. Accept cookies. All right. What is Skillshare? What's included in my membership? Okay, well let me look this up. I don't know if it's gonna show anything anything weird. Let me just take a look real quick. So terms of service, start learning today, 7 free days, sign up using email. About, maybe? Yeah, I mean, they don't, I think the criticism that they don't show how much it costs, I think that's legitimate. Yeah, because I'm not seeing it anywhere on here. Hit sign up, I do, and it just takes me to putting in an email. Like, I don't want to make an account on there. Yeah, it seems problematic.
For example, Skillshare has a horrendous average rating of 1.7 stars, with 32% of reviews being 1-star ratings. And that's despite a massive upward skew from YouTubers. For example, let's say I'm watching Ali Abdal, who is an exceptional YouTuber, and I hear him pitch his Skillshare course.
Right.
If I go check out his Skillshare course, I'll probably get exactly what I'm looking for, which may lead to a glowing 5-star review. But this isn't really a testament as to how good Skillshare is as a platform. It's really just a review of Ali Abdal or Nathaniel Drew or Marcus Brownlee. If it
I don't know if that's a very strong argument. I'm on the side of the fence that it's not. Because Skillshare is simply an avenue for people to post content on the website. And if these people are being promoted to post content on the website, meaning that it is a direct outcome of the website's action because they're being sponsored to do it, I would say that the sponsored content that is available on the website is an extension of the quality of the website. I can't see how it would not be.
If it weren't for these select YouTubers, Skillshare's average rating would probably be closer to that of PayPal. Why are people so upset in the...
I don't know if that's a very strong argument either, because the person that sent the... let me look it up on the Google App Store. Let's take a look and see what it says. Let's see. Google Apps, Google Play Store, Skillshare. Skillshare has 4.3 stars, 51,000 reviews. People are complaining about the price. The Skillshare app is bad. I don't know. I mean, like, App Store reviews are fake. So then what's real? I find this to be like a very, like, this is not a very good way of looking at things, that all of the negative reviews are real and all of the positive reviews are fake. And I think that you can make that argument, but whenever you make that argument, you have to have something that backs it up, other than I don't like it and this is just, that's all there is to it. Most positive ones are. I don't know. It feels very anecdotal. Yeah. Like, this person showed 2 negative reviews of Skillshare. The first negative review didn't even really have to do with the quality of the website. It had to do with some payment problem. And then the second one, I forgot what the second one was. Oh, it was about the pricing of the website. So neither of these things were actually about the quality of the content that existed on the platform. I'd rather go at look at Trustpilot. Okay, I've never been there before. Let me see. Trustpilot, Skillshare. Ooh, this is not good at all. This looks like a 1.7. Holy shit, a 1.7. That's really bad. Let's look at a few other ones. What are other competitive things that are similar to Skillshare? Yeah, let's look at Twitch, for example. Twitch is worse. Twitch is at 1.5. Udemy, okay. A 2.2. Also better than the 1.7 by half an entire point. Very substantial. However, still poor. How about Masterclass? 2.6. Okay, 2.6 is pretty good. Let's look at YouTube. Oh, God. How about Facebook? Oh, God. Oh, shit. Oh, God. It's not good at all. Wow. All right, let's see here. Reviews. And also, let's look at Masterclass again. So it has 774 reviews versus Skillshare, which has 1.4K reviews. So that's about a difference of about double of the amount of results. Is 700 versus 1.4K, would these be within the same realm? Twitter? Okay, we'll look at Twitter one more. Fucking 1.5. Yeah, how about Uber? 3.4. Okay, DoorDash. I feel like DoorDash is fine for me every time. Let's see. DoorDash. Lyft. 1.1. Oh my God. Well, anyway, the point is that, yes, Skillshare does seem to be rated lower than its competitors in the space. I don't know about that Udemy, or I guess that's like U Academy or something like that. I have no idea. And it's also rated less than Masterclass. Check Starforge. Well, we don't really have one. We don't have an app yet. I'm sorry. That'll be soon.
First place.
But my point is that they are both rated extremely low on this website. However, the other ones are rated higher, which is that does serve to mean something. But it should also be contextualized around they are all rated below 50%. Every single one of these is rated below 50%. And so are things like Twitter and YouTube. So it seems like people are not getting what they want out of this app, or their opinion of the app is not very good, and that's why. It's a mixed bag. Yeah, it's very hard for me to say, okay, based off of this, like, it's a problem. Seems like people aren't getting what they want out of any app. Well, I think that also people just don't like the app, and so they rate it down. Because a lot of people aren't rating, like, there were 700 people that reviewed it. There were 7,000 people that used Lyft. Millions of people use Lyft. 7,000 people say it's bad. That means that it's extremely good, because negative criticism, this is a business school fucking thing that we learned. You are 9 times more, for every one type of positive criticism you're going to get 9 times, whenever somebody has a negative interaction with a business or with an employee, they are 9 times more likely to complain about that negative interaction than they are likely to talk about a positive one. So I'm going off tangent here, but the point is that the low ratings that he showed, the 2 low ratings, I don't think that is sufficient enough to be able to draw the conclusion that without these content creators on the platform would be dead. I don't think it exists. I don't think that's enough.
Well, aside from a history of slimy sales practices, Skillshare simply doesn't offer
a history of slimy sales practices, like what? What is this?
The value that YouTubers say it does. At the end of the day, it's really just a worse version of YouTube.
Actually, to be fair, I'm going to give him credit. You could make the argument that not having the price of the subscription is a slimy sales practice. I would agree with that. So thinking about this more, I think it's actually fair for him to say that. Okay, that's fine.
That costs $32 per month or $168 per year. Instead of getting the monthly subscription, you can get a YouTube Premium family plan for 6 people and have $9 per month to spare. Or you could get a premium Netflix subscription for 4 people and still have $12 per month to spare. So here's the truth about Skillshare and why it doesn't live up to all this.
I think that's also a bad argument, because like what he's doing is he's saying that the content on YouTube is equivalent, and I don't think that it is possible for him to make that evaluation across all of the content on YouTube versus all of the content on Skillshare. Now, for the record, I probably agree with him on this. I bet Skillshare 9 out of 10 times is going to have the exact same content that YouTube is. However, it's just like, it's baseless.
Social media hype.
There's also a value proposition that's different for each individual. It's like, for example, like subscribing to a stream. There is no world where subscribing to a Twitch stream provides you the same value that a Netflix subscription does. Like, how much is a sub is like $5, and then people are doing it 4 times or something like that. It's about the same as $20 a month for Netflix, something like that. So I would say that's the case too. There's always a value proposition, and to a certain extent, the value proposition is subjective.
Likely the biggest complaint about Skillshare is that it's not actually better than YouTube. At best, it's able to match YouTube, and this is true for basically any topic that you want to learn about. Take Swift coding for example.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with Swift, it's the coding language that you have to use for native iOS development, so it's a pretty relevant skill. Yet,
Sure.
if you search up Swift on Skillshare, you don't get much more than 50 results. And out of these results, only 3 of them are actual courses on Swift that last 30 plus hours. Most of the results are just introduction or feature videos, and the remaining results, well, they often don't even have anything to do with Swift. We have a video.
I think what he's really attacking here is the value proposition that Skillshare provides. Because I do think that it is almost impossible to create a platform for videos that could compete with YouTube in any way. It's nearly impossible.
About the principles of remote work, a video about organizing your life, a video about captivation marketing, and a video about Adobe Illustrator. In fact, 26 out of the 54 results didn't have anything to do about Swift or iOS development at all. But at least there's 3 good courses.
Swift or iOS development at all. I mean, I think that, okay, so the search function is bad. That could be kind of the same thing on YouTube. But I do think that it's very much true that if you go on YouTube and you search this, you're probably going to get more results. Now, will the results be as comprehensive and as good as the ones in Skillshare? That's really the question. So evaluating the amount of results, I don't think really matters. It's about the quality of the results.
Right? Those alone should be worth a subscription. Well, that's what you might think until you take a look at what YouTube has to offer. Code with Chris alone has 536 videos, all about iOS development, and many of these are over 3 hours long. And his videos don't just teach you how to write a function or class either. They teach you how to make a feature completely functional from beginning to end.
Well, we can also use another example with this is that, you know, that guy that we watched his videos the other day, it was yesterday with AI, and like how he was drawing that girl the whole video. Like he also sold courses and did stuff like that and had tools on how to learn like art, etc. on his YouTube channel as well. So I think that in many regards, I don't think that you can build a premium video platform that's not for porn that YouTube will not outshine. I don't think so. Because just based off of the law of like how many numbers of the, like not really the law of large numbers, but just based off of quantity in general. It's just that the only thing that Skillshare can really provide as a value add is curated search results. And it seems like they don't really provide that either based off of his search for this stuff. But I mean, there could be other things that Skillshare is really good for as well.
Make a custom login page using Google Authentication, how to link up your iOS app to a cloud database, how to make API requests to implement external functionality into your apps. Code with Chris's channel literally has more content about Swift than the entirety of Skillshare.
Yeah.
And he's just one channel. There's dozens more like...
Yeah, how can you possibly beat YouTube? Exactly.
iOS Academy.
Bad argument so far? Do you think that's a bad argument that because YouTube is open to a global audience and it's being uploaded by a global audience and the best videos are usually the most popular ones, so there is like a democratic selection process that will automatically generally correlate the better videos towards the top of search results that is being done across the entire world? You think that's not a good argument? I think that's a very good argument. Yeah, it's very good to compare. Because what he's really doing, it's not that Skillshare is a scam, by the way. Skillshare is not a scam. It's just that the value proposition is just, it's not worth $32, at least not in this regard. The point is you don't want to go through a billion channels to find a good one. That is true.
iOS Academy
and that's the curation that I was talking about.
3 videos covering everything that Chris covers, But he takes it even one step further. He has these massive series where he builds full-on apps from beginning to end. For example, he's currently making a Rick and Morty app completely from scratch that has a total of 45 parts.
Oh my god.
This series alone has over 10 hours of content. We also have Sean Allen, Paul Hudson, CodePro, Rebelloper, Let's Build That App, and so many more in just the little niche of Swift. This same argument can be made for learning JavaScript or animation or motion graphics or cooking or basically any skill you can think of. But none of this is really surprising. YouTube is the biggest video hosting platform in the world. On Skillshare, there's a total of 30,000 courses. On YouTube, there's 30,000 hours of content being uploaded every single hour.
I think that's also a very bad argument. I don't think that really makes a lot of sense because it's completely different. Like, there's 30,000 hours of content being uploaded, yeah, but a lot of it is just family videos that don't even have anything to do with it, and full-length feature movies being uploaded, and 10-hour repeats of Hey Ya, the He-Man fucking song, randomly uploaded every day. So it's just like, I don't really think this is very good. I think that he should talk more about like the fact that Skillshare, because obviously the argument that you could make for this is that Skillshare provides better curation. And while YouTube does have more information, you might be able to find the right information on YouTube, Skillshare would be able to find it in a more bespoke way and be able to tailor it more for individual content creators and people that are looking for that content specifically. So it's like, I don't know.
So naturally, YouTube will have the most in-depth, most comprehensive videos on any niche.
Structure.
And ironically, this is true for even the YouTubers that pitch Skillshare. Ali Abdaal, for example, has a total of maybe 30 hours of content on Skillshare.
Okay.
Meanwhile, on YouTube, he has hundreds of hours worth of content. We should also note that Skillshare doesn't have any sort of vetting process in terms of who can post content. So basically anyone can post content on Skillshare just like on YouTube, meaning that the content on Skillshare isn't necessarily more credible, valuable, or informative. Meanwhile, there's...
do they have a vetting process to remove content that's low quality, though? Yeah, it's like neither does YouTube. Yes, neither does YouTube, but the problem is that Skillshare is using that as a value proposition. So it's like whenever they both don't have something, it's not a competitive advantage.
Plenty of extraordinarily talented teachers on YouTube itself. Most of the coding channels, for example, are run by former or even current FANG software engineers. So even if we take the cost of Skillshare out of the equation, you're still better off using YouTube. Not only does Skillshare lack any sort of distinguishing factor, but YouTube destroys Skillshare in terms of the amount and depth of content.
Okay.
Given Skillshare's glowing reputation on YouTube, you would think that they're experts at public relations and branding. And in terms of customer acquisition, they are. But if we take a look at customer experience, it's a whole nother story. Honestly, this is pretty surprising. Though I don't think that Skillshare is worth the money, I would have expected Skillshare to be on the top of their game when it comes to customer satisfaction. But reading through these Trustpilot reviews, that doesn't seem to be the case. You know how YouTubers always pitch Skillshare as this risk-free service? You can just try it for 30 days and cancel with no strings attached. This idea is plastered all over their website as well. But in reality, the trial process isn't what it seems. D. Stevens, for example, claims that he was charged for a 1-year subscription after just 2 weeks of trial. At first, Skillshare didn't even reply to any of his messages, but
I don't know. Like it's how does that even happen? Yeah, it's like number one, where's the proof of this? Like here's my, you want to know my honest fucking opinion? This person doesn't even fucking understand English. They're capitalizing math. There's things constantly misspelled. This person's a fucking moron. Do you think I'm going to believe them at their accounting of this situation? Absolutely not. There's no proof of this. There's no evidence that it happened. Now, if 10 other people say the exact same thing, then yeah, I would take it more seriously. But one person saying this who can't even understand the language that they're complaining in, this is not going to fill me with a lot of confidence that they're an accurate source of judging the product. They don't even know what they're saying. I'm not trying to be mean, but there it is.
Even when they did reply, all they had to say was, "You have 14 days to cancel from the day you sign up." This likely seems confusing at first glance, but when you read the fine print, it all makes sense. Basically, you do.
Well, wait a second.
So even when they did reply,
they advertise 1 month free trial, and then they take a 1-year subscription fee after 2 weeks of signing up. Message them again. All they say is you have 14 days to cancel from the day you sign up. So they are 1 month free trial is a lie. This person is an idiot, but I also think that it is intentionally misleading. So like I think this person is an idiot. They're dumb. However, it is true that if you say it's a 1 month free trial, people will assume that you have to cancel before that month is over, before you're charged. Does that make sense? Like, that's what I think a reasonable person would come to the conclusion of. Yeah, he got misled. Exactly. Yeah, he got misled. And the thing is, like, as I said, usually whenever coincidence and personal gain converge, it's not a coincidence. I think that it is intentionally kept this way. How many of you guys are like, you ever see somebody like, I remember at Sam's Club, this used to always be the case. You would go to Sam's Club and like there would be some guy, he's like, do you want DirecTV? You're going to get free internet for 90 days. And I'm like, I always ask people, how much does the free one cost? Because it always costs something. It costs your email address, it costs your phone number, it costs your address, or it costs your name and contact information. There's always a cost. And I think this is true, especially with this. However, I do think that a lot of these companies will make money based off of people who sign up for free trials and then they forget to cancel them and then they bill them for the first month and make $32 off of them. And I do think that this is unethical because it is worded in a way that is misleading. You tell somebody they have a 30-day free trial, the assumption would be that you can cancel it within the 30 days, and that would be the case. I think that is the assumption that a reasonable, well-intentioned person would go into. And so whenever you deviate from that, you might be legally protected, and this is not illegal, but I'm not going to say it's good.
I had to say was, you have 14 days to cancel from the day you sign up. This likely seems confusing at first glance, but when you read the fine print, it all makes sense. Of course, yeah. Basically, you do indeed get 1 month for free, but you get charged for the following 12-month period before the trial month even ends.
A 12-month period.
This is of course stated in the fine print. Cancel before the trial ends to avoid being charged. But
all memberships will be billed automatically. If eligible for a free trial, cancel before the trial ends to avoid a charge. Yeah, again, this is misleading again. Because, again, a reasonable person would go into this and see cancel before the trial ends would mean that canceling at any time before the trial ends. Because it's not an exclusionary statement. This is like an umbrella statement. Before the trial ends. That's a 30-day period. So I think that this kind of language, by the way, should be regulated. Like, fucking super regulated. Because, in my opinion, they just stole this dude's money. 100%. And by the way, this is not to shit on Skillshare. Because so many fucking companies do this. So many of them do this. This is not a Skillshare thing. Almost every company that has a free trial system works and does this. And it's bullshit. And not only is it bullshit, but it takes advantage of oftentimes people that don't have the money. That's why they're trying to get the free trial in the first place. So it's like you're deliberately curating an audience of people that are oftentimes not financially literate to take advantage of them and have the technical grounds for doing and taking their money. I'm very much against this, but I don't think this is a Skillshare unique problem. American problems? I don't know how they do things in other countries. I have no idea. I'm just talking about in America. It's not bullshit because when you buy, if 20 days is over, then they have to charge for the new month. Well, no, they don't have to. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, ultimately, this is a deliberately misleading tactic that is intentionally crafted to be misleading on purpose in order to trick people into allowing them to take their money legally. That is fundamentally what this is. I don't care about the legality of it. The law does not matter. What matters is the effect and the intention.
If we're being honest, this is rather misleading.
True.
The average user probably hears about Skillshare as this godly learning platform on YouTube that they can try for 1 month completely for free. Then
that is what a reasonable person would assume.
To this page and they see all this advertising about this one free month. So they decide to give it a shot only to be charged $168 2 weeks later. And this doesn't seem to be an honest marketing mistake either, given the number of complaints on Trustpilot itself.
I would like to see the point in the fine print that it says they're going to charge you for $168. Because my assumption was that the person was charged. Sorry, I'm going to go back again. I apologize. Take a 1 year subscription, 2 hours. Yeah. If they are charging you for a 1 year subscription, just like 2 weeks into it, that is extremely unethical.
To give it a shot only to be charged $168 2 weeks later.
Like,
and
massively.
This doesn't seem to be an honest marketing mistake either.
Yeah, we've got a real Giga Chat in chat. Good luck getting $168 out of my bank account. Yep, there you go, brother. You can't take what you don't have.
Given the number of complaints on Trustpilot itself,
yeah, we gotta
I'm
worry
sure
about
their
that.
help center has been overloaded with confused customers. Yet they stick to the same slimy sales tactic.
Because it's intentional.
Worse, it doesn't seem like they tried to even make it up to customers.
Because it's intentional to take their money. Obviously.
Sam, for example, missed the refund window for an annual subscription by just 4 days, and he was refused any sort of refund at all. Even if you do get a
let's see here. Denied a refund, continue to pester them, get money. I'm only worried that they'll try to charge me again next year, even though I've already canceled, avoid at all cost. This is one good thing. You will never hear me ever say this in any other situation except for this one. This is one of the good things about credit cards, is with credit cards, if you have a charge like this, you just call your credit card company and you say, this is what happened, and they say, no, it didn't happen.
And he was refused any
not
sort
always,
of refund.
Of course not
at all.
always.
Even if you do get a refund, though, you're not out of the woods just yet, because you could be charged 1 year later. Take Roberta's daughter, for example. 1 year ago, she signed up for a free trial. She too was surprised when she was suddenly charged an annual subscription. Fortunately, though, she was able to contact customer support and get a refund and cancel her membership. But 1 year later, she was charged for a renewal. When she contacted customer support again, they told her that they can't issue a refund because they have a one refund policy, which she had already canceled.
Oh, that makes sense, because you can only get one refund. So if we charge you twice, I mean, that's smart. That's good.
In on.
Yeah, one
They
refund
even sent her a
policy.
quote from her.
You know where that came from? Their ass. They just pulled it straight out. That's like, yeah, so we have this like one refund policy. By the way, they don't have a one refund policy. I guarantee you, if like, think of like any powerful, influential person had this problem with the company, they'd find a way to get 2 refunds.
Original email thread showing that they had issued a refund. The funny part was that this quote also contained evidence that she had.
Somebody says, why do they charge only for 1 year at this point? Okay, so I'll explain why. So you have two numbers. Okay, which one do you want? And think of it in terms of dollars. Which one do you want? $32? Yeah, mo money, mo problems. That's what they say, right? That's what Biggie told us what it was. True. Yeah, so that's why. It's because this one makes more money. It's literally that simple. What are you like? Come on.
Asked them to cancel 1 year ago, but when this was pointed out to them, they simply stopped replying. All of this is truly quite a shame for a company that's so good at customer acquisition. But this is simply the harsh reality of Skillshare. If all of that wasn't already bad enough, well, it gets even worse.
Okay. I think the chatter meant, why don't they just take as much money as they want if that's the case? I'd say that's stupid too. That does, yeah. Well, in our terms of service, if you buy something, we can take $1 million out of your bank account. Let's be kind of realistic here. Do you want to know why they actually do it for a yearly charge? It's because it's normalized in this industry. How many of you guys have signed up for the free trial of something and then you were charged 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year after the free trial was over without your consent? Or sorry, you did consent to it by signing the original contract without your approval at the time that you were charged the second time. Yes. 20 times at least. Stop signing up for free trials. Yeah, so I'm not an idiot. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Is that do you see the point that I'm making is that who are the people that want free trials? Generally people that have less money. Who are the people that are more financially illiterate in general? Probably people who have less money, logically, right? They're younger, they're less experienced on average. We're playing with averages here. So I don't want to hear about how you're super smart and you don't have a lot of money, or there's stupid people that have a lot of money. I don't want to hear about that. We're talking about averages here. On average, you are cultivating an audience of people that, by the nature of them seeking the product that you are trying to serve, are on average more financially illiterate than the general population. So guess what happens? They get fucked over. You know, if you've ever been poor, you would know this to be true. It's expensive to be poor.
Skillshare not only has subpar content that costs a fortune, but they're also preying on YouTubers' most loyal audience. When it comes to Skillshare, I bet that a significant portion of people who sign up aren't even trying to learn. They simply want to support a creator and see more content from said creator, similar to something like Patreon. But unlike Patreon, most of the subscription fee doesn't even end up going to the creators. Patreon only keeps 5 to 12% of the fees. Skillshare, on the other hand, keeps, wait for it, 7.
I thought Patreon was 20%. I could be wrong.
50%. This is completely unacceptable when you consider that YouTube itself only takes 45%, and they're
yeah, I mean Twitch only takes half. 70% is that, yeah.
Content is available to end users for free. Meanwhile, Skillshare is charging their users $168 per year, which is again even more than YouTube Premium. Yet they're only sharing 30% of it with the actual creators. Take Teachable for example. These guys have become the go-to place for hosting courses. And guess what? They have a free plan for creators that supports unlimited students. This does come along with a per sale fee of 10%, but creators can get this per sale fee down to 0 by upgrading tiers. Even Netflix, who people seem to hate, is extremely generous with their revenue sharing. Much of the main Stranger Things cast, for example, was paid $250,000 per episode. If
That's a
all
lot.
of these other businesses are able to stay afloat without taking anywhere close to 70% of the revenue, there's no reason for Skillshare to be taking 70%.
70%, by the way, for like agency fees and like management fees, like anything over 30% is probably a lot. Like most places operate between like 10 to 40% based off of what's happening, etc. Like anything, but bro, like you're talking about 70%? That's some fucking meth drug dealer shit. Where you're like a mule and you just have to take a bag of crack across the fucking country for like $3,000. Then whenever you get there, they shoot you. Like, who the fuck does this? That's awful.
It appears to me that Skillshare figured out that many YouTubers have extremely loyal audiences that are willing to pay up large amounts of money to get more content and theoretically support their favorite creators.
Yeah.
Instead of creating a smooth platform to enable such support though, Skillshare has decided to cash in for themselves. In the end, YouTube is filled with glowing endorsements of Skillshare, but much of this is just due to Skillshare's smart positioning and branding.
I don't think that it's smart positioning or branding. What they're really saying is that the truth is that a deliberately misleading trial period and a unfair user split between creators, these are not like this would not be in the advertisement. Like, of course it would not be in the advertisement. So it's just they're not talking about that. Like, and on the surface, the idea of Skillshare sounds very good. So it's a very easy idea to sell.
Behind the scenes, Skillshare doesn't accomplish anything notably great. In fact, they have multiple notable negative attributes. They have pretty shady free trial, renewal, and cancellation policies.
Yeah.
And they only share 30% of their revenue with creators. But even putting those attributes aside, the bottom line is that Skillshare just isn't worth it. You're basically getting...
I think this is actually his weakest argument for Skillshare being bad, is that Skillshare isn't worth it because it's too much of a subjective value analysis. I think it's probably very circumstantial, and I would argue that there probably are a number of very good, like, different types of, what's the word for it? There's a number of very good, like, courses and trials and, like, different, like, I don't know, like, videos on Skillshare that are actually high quality. I don't think you can say that there are none. Or that the ones on YouTube are universally better, especially whenever his point of reference is one case. You would have to look at this across like 50 different cases, 100 different cases, and even then it would still be, you would not be getting to 100%, you would be getting close to it.
A discount version of YouTube that you have to pay exorbitant fees for. If any other company was offering this same service, they would have gotten shredded by the community. But because Skillshare is such a big player within the sponsorship scene, no YouTuber wants to speak out against them. And audiences are led to believe that Skillshare truly is some sort of exceptional service that's worth the premium price, when in reality, that's just not the case. But that's just what I think. Have you ever used Skillshare? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you appreciate the honest take on Skillshare. And of course, consider checking out our Discord community to suggest video ideas and consider subscribing to see more questions logically answered. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
So I think there's a lot to talk about with this because number one, I went into this video, I try to go into videos that are accusatory, assuming that the accusations are probably like not entirely true. I try to go into it putting the burden of proof on that person rather than just being like, yeah, this person's totally right. This is totally a scam. Oh, it's such a fucking scam. We love scams, right? So I very much am not a fan of that. So if you go back and you watch the beginning of this, you can see that I was very clearly defending Skillshare. And I think that the reason for that is that I don't like to see something like this just get shit on because somebody's subjective value analysis is not they don't think that it's worth it, basically. I think that's unfair. However, I do think that he has two extremely strong points in this video that are irrefutable, that show that Skillshare is acting in an unethical way. Number one is the fact that the 1 month free trial ends actually at 14 days, and at 14 days you get locked into a 1 year subscription, which is $168. Guys, I know for a lot of you, you're lucky enough that $168 isn't a big deal. There are many years in my life when $168 would break the bank. And the truth is that with a lot of people that are watching YouTube videos, etc., you're catering towards a younger audience, towards an audience that is much less financially literate than the average population, and thus they're not going to be reading the fine print. They're already getting their guard is not up because they're following an advertisement that a content creator is giving them, and so they're thinking, oh, well, I trust this content creator, and the content creator probably doesn't know. I don't think a lot of the guys that are taking the sponsorships even knew anything about this. It wouldn't matter to them. And you also have to keep in mind that if you're being paid for putting your videos up on there, because I can guarantee you that's what's happening, is Skillshare pays some guy like I think it was this guy here.
What I'm looking
yeah,
for.
like they paid this guy to put the courses up on their website. Like he got a lump sum amount of money. Like they probably paid him, I don't know, like $100,000, $300,000, $50,000, I don't know. But he was paid a good amount of money to put these videos up on their website. So if you are paid a massive amount of a lump sum and then a 70% differential afterwards, then I think that's very fair, because the company is basically, they're risking all of the upfront cost. They're saying, we trust that we are going to make more money with your product in the long term, so we are going to front the fixed cost up at the front, right? And I think that's true. They're investing into it. That's totally fine if it's a 70% differential for a person that has a sponsorship and they're being paid a base rate for actually creating the videos. However, whenever you're talking about something that is not a special contract, this is not an exclusive influencer contract, this is just a content creator on Skillshare who's looking to share their skills, and you're taking 70% of that, then I would consider that unethical. And again, it's very hard to say what is unethical, and if something is unethical, whenever both parties are consensually under, no duress or fucking weird reason, they are choosing to engage into this contract. So it's very hard for me to say that is unethical, but I do think in this case it is at very least shady. It could be seen as unethical, it could be seen as predatory, but I think that's up to the individual to decide. However, on my side of it, I do think that it's bad. And I think that I consider it very sus. Okay, let's just say that. So that's the second thing. I definitely agree with him on that. The 70% makes a lot of sense for a guy like this because he probably got paid a flat fee. But if you're talking about bringing in a base creator at 70%, people are getting pissed off at Twitch for 50. How the fuck are we not going to get pissed off at Skillshare for 70? Also, I think it's very good that people are finally calling out a lot of these sponsorships on YouTube. We saw this happen before with the established titles, which was the buy a plot of land in Scotland and you can be an official lord, which turned out to be a meme and not even true. Now, you can make the argument that because it had no actual functional value and it was a meme in the first place, that people that were buying it didn't really matter in the same way. But with this, I think it is different, and it's actually a little bit worse because you're actually looking to buy a product out of this, and that product has a functional value, and that functional value is somehow not being met, or in the process of trying to seek that functional value, things that are unethical occur, like, having to spend a lot of money for the 1 year trial, or having a lot of your money taken away by Skillshare if you're uploading something. So I'm really glad to see more content creators and people speaking out against these different scams. And I don't think this is a scam, by the way. I think this is an unethical practice that Skillshare is engaging in with their free trials. And I do also think that it should be called out, absolutely. But I also don't think it's something that is unique to Skillshare. A lot of companies do this exact same shady stuff. So I feel kind of uncomfortable singling out Skillshare and saying Skillshare is this horrible thing whenever so many other companies do equally manipulative things with free trials as well. So but like Skillshare is one of them though. Like it's not like Skillshare isn't at fault. I'm just trying to contextualize it around other people are also at fault. Yeah, Amazon Prime. Fucking like AT&T, I think, might do stuff like that. Like a lot of like internet companies, maybe not AT&T, but I remember Time Warner Cable did that. It was very, very common. So yeah, overall, I hope that people, honestly, I just hope I hope they change the free trial thing. Like that's the main. That's my main takeaway for this, is that Skillshare should see this video and see how many people are being misled by the free trial and realize that it's not worth the hit to your reputation and integrity to steal people's money, who are oftentimes the people that need the money the most. So I really hope they change that. And I also don't think it's the content creator's fault for supporting something like this. The content creator might not know every single nuance of their payment structure, etc. I think that, of course, people should be held accountable for what they promote, but I think there's a reasonable amount of distance that you can assume that a person has with a sponsor. Like, just because somebody takes a sponsor doesn't mean that they approve every single action this company has ever taken, or they understand every nuance that the company has. But I do think that content creators, after seeing this and now that this is public, should be much more reluctant on taking sponsorships for Skillshare. That was a lot for me to say. I'm very interested in this kind of stuff for obvious reasons. So, yeah, I had a lot to say. I'll read a few comments here, and then we'll move on. What a rant. Yeah, sure. Just because everyone doesn't mean it's not a scam. You're totally right, and that's the point that I was making. However, I do think that it's misleading and disingenuous to take something that everybody is doing and then pin it on one person and say that you're bad for doing it. I think that you're right. Fundamentally, you're right, but it is deliberately misleading, and I think it's almost like you're playing favorites. As a content creator, how do you differentiate a legit sponsorship opportunity and a scam? Simple. The amount of money they pay you. Yeah, if they pay you a ton of money, it's legit. If they don't, it's probably bullshit. That's simple, guys. Come on. But no, I mean, really, you look and see if other people have done it. And this is what happens, right? Because, like, as a content creator, like, I see this a lot. With a lot of content, what you end up seeing is, like, you see, like, for example, like, Marcus Brownlee is, like, one of the most well-respected YouTubers on the entire platform. So, like, if I see him taking a sponsor for something, I think to myself, oh, shit. Like, this is something that's legit. I should totally believe in this, and it's real. Absolutely. Sorry if I pronounced his name wrong. I apologize. But the point is, like, this guy is the real deal. So whenever I see him do that, and maybe this guy saw him do that, and then this guy saw him do that, and then I see this guy do it, and then I look at all the other guys that are doing it, it's like, well, it looks like everybody's doing this, so it's okay. So, like, everybody just kind of assumes things are fine. And, like, realistically, that's not a very good way to go about doing things. But I think that there's also, like, that's just what's going to happen. It's just what people are going to do. Yeah. He's a bit brand biased. I mean, I think you can easily make that argument. But overall, like, he's relatively well respected. You know, much more so than a lot of other mainstream YouTube personalities. So, yeah. Established titles, exactly. New DBZ game we got announced an hour ago. I tweeted you the trailer. Yeah, sure, I'll take a look at it. Give me a second. I have to admit, I preferred seeing the Skillshare ads, the Endless Keeps, and Raid Shadow Legends. I mean, people have got to make money, and that's just how, you know, we live in a society where people need to make money. Once we reach some sort of singularity where everybody can live in a virtual world and scarcity is a thing of the past, then we won't have to worry about it anymore. But until then, you're going to see sponsorships. Philip DeFranco is sponsored by established titles, so even big reputable YouTubers can be deceived. Well, look, man, like, everybody can be misled by something because nobody can fundamentally understand every nuance of a system like this. It is an unrealistic expectation. Whenever some of the biggest, like, think about all of the venture capitalists that invested into Eddie Ibanez, who was the guy that was part of Logan Paul's CryptoZoo. Remember that whole part of the story? How he hoodwinked literal billionaires into investing in him and giving him money. So if these people at the very, very highest level are not able to completely discern this, you shouldn't expect somebody like Philip DeFranco to do that either. That doesn't mean you shouldn't hold them accountable after the fact, and it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have conversations about being more accountable and being better at being able to see these things ahead of time. However, I don't think you should just go off the rails and get mad at them for it either. It's a middle ground. I think that the people you should really be frustrated with are Skillshare for deceptive practices, and I would say, yeah, with them. This is a great video. Again, I went into the video thinking that this was just some hater, and it turned out that he actually had some really good points about halfway through the video, and I'm glad I watched it. So I'll link you guys the video. I'm going to give it a like myself. Yeah, this is a great video. Really good to see this. People looking out for the YouTube community. Venture capitalists don't do as much due diligence as you might imagine. Well, what I'm saying is that nobody is doing that much due diligence. It's just not happening because it would be functionally impossible to keep up with everything. It's shady why billionaires would invest in something like that. Money laundering, tax evasion, I don't know. So this is the idea that a lot of venture capitalists and people like that go in with. They say, we're going to close our eyes and we're going to take, or at least we're only going to have one eye open, and we're going to take 100 shots. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like Dr. Disrespect. How many times have you seen the doc take a shot at some fucking helicopter that's 500 miles away, and then once every 6 months he hits the guy? And then the clip goes on YouTube or it goes on Twitter. It has 18 million views and everybody's talking about how amazing he is. But you don't see the fact that he takes 2 of these shots every fucking game and he plays games 8 hours a day. But you remember the shot that he hits. And the truth is, a lot of VC people, they think like, okay, well, all we need to do is hit one TikTok. All we need to do is hit one Vine, hit one Instagram, hit, let's see, what's another, like, really popular, Uber, something like that. And then we own the next fucking, like, billion-dollar company. So that's why they do it, and that's their strategy in a lot of regards. I can't speak to every group, obviously. And I do think that a lot of the groups do indulge in a good amount of due diligence, absolutely. But that is kind of what the philosophy is behind a lot of investments, especially like tech investments. Venture capitalists are happy with a 90% failure rate. That's right. Because you can lose 90% of your money, but you can make 1,000% of your money. So it's basically like gambling, but these guys are, it's like the good version of gambling. And it's good because these guys have a lot of money, obviously. Some of them use tech incubator, don't even know what they're investing in. It's a lot more complex, but you're right at a high level. But they have people that like that. There's, I mean, it's a whole company, right? It's like the CEO doesn't understand what the person in the mailroom is probably doing, or the person that's doing graphic design. Like they don't understand that. So yeah. Isn't that what Shaq does? He invested in everything? Yeah, he sure does. I hear about Shaq all the time. Holy fuck. Like, if there's a new product coming out, Shaq's on it. Absolutely. Yeah, and I bet, I don't know how much Shaq is worth, but I bet he's worth a lot of fucking money.